Have you ever wondered how a small act of kindness can lead to something truly unbelievable? In today's story, we'll take you on an emotional journey about a young boy who saves a bird, only to uncover a shocking secret about its origin. What started as an innocent rescue quickly turned into a life-changing experience that no one could have seen coming. So stay with us, because what happens next will truly blow your mind. If you enjoy stories about compassion, unexpected twists, and heartwarming connections, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Now, let's dive into the story of a young boy, a helpless bird, and the incredible turn of events that followed. It was an ordinary Saturday afternoon in the small town where 10-year-old Ethan lived with his parents. Ethan was a quiet, thoughtful boy who loved nature and spent most of his free time exploring the backyard of his family's modest home. On this particular day, while chasing butterflies and kicking around his soccer ball, something unexpected caught his attention. A faint, desperate chirp echoed from the bushes at the edge of the yard. Curiosity piqued. Ethan walked over to investigate. As he pulled back the leaves, he found a small, trembling bird lying helplessly on the ground. Its wing was twisted at an odd angle, and it was clearly in pain. The bird's glossy black feathers were dirty, and it looked weak and vulnerable. Without hesitation, Ethan carefully cradled the injured bird in his hands, feeling its fragile body shake with fear. He couldn't bear to see the creature suffer. His instincts told him that this bird needed help fast. Ethan rushed inside to find his mother, who was preparing dinner in the kitchen. "Mom, I found a bird. It's hurt. What do we do?" Ethan asked, his voice filled with urgency and concern. His mother, always supportive of his love for animals, quickly put down what she was doing and followed him to the living room, where they made a makeshift nest for the bird in a shoebox. They lined the box with soft towels and used a small dropper to give the bird some water. For the next few days, Ethan and his mom took turns caring for the bird. They named it Shadow because of its dark, sleek feathers. As Shadow slowly regained its strength, a unique bond formed between the bird and the boy. Ethan spent hours sitting by the bird's side, talking to it, singing softly, and making sure it felt safe. As the days passed, Shadow began to show signs of improvement. Its once broken wing had started to heal, and it could now hop around the box with more energy. But what truly amazed Ethan was how Shadow responded to him. It was as if the bird understood everything he said. Whenever Ethan entered the room, Shadow would chirp excitedly and flap its wings in greeting. Ethan, in turn, became more and more attached to the bird. He would bring it small treats, carefully feeding it crumbs and seeds, and talk to it as if they were old friends. What struck him as odd was how Shadow would stare at him with its beady eyes, almost as if it were trying to communicate. One evening, after Shadow had been with him for about a week, something strange happened. Ethan was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when he heard a familiar sound coming from the shoebox. Shadow was chirping, but it wasn't its usual, calm chirp. This was louder, almost frantic. Ethan quickly got up and went to check on his feathered friend. To his surprise, Shadow was flapping its wings furiously and staring directly at the window. The bird seemed desperate to go outside. Ethan hesitated but eventually opened the window, just a crack. To his amazement, Shadow flew out, not to escape, but to circle around the house. It was as if Shadow was performing a strange, graceful dance in the sky. Moments later, other birds began to appear. They joined Shadow in the air, forming intricate patterns above the yard. Ethan stood there, mesmerized. He had never seen anything like it before. The next morning, as Ethan sat at the breakfast table with his parents, there was a knock at the door. His father answered, and standing on the porch were two men in uniform. They introduced themselves as officials from the local wildlife conservation center. They had been tracking a specific bird, one that had gone missing from a protected area. "We've been following the signal from one of our tag birds," one of the men said. "It seems to have been injured and ended up here. We'd like to ask if you've seen any unusual birds around." Ethan's heart raced. Could they be talking about Shadow? He quickly led the men to the living room where Shadow was resting in its shoebox. The moment they saw the bird, the men exchanged glances. "This is it," one of them said. "This is the bird we've been looking for." Ethan and his parents were stunned. The men explained that Shadow was no ordinary bird. It was part of a rare and endangered species. These birds were incredibly intelligent and had been part of a special research project to study their unique abilities to bond with humans. Ethan's mind reeled as he listened to the story of Shadow's origins. The bird had been part of an experimental program where scientists worked with a small population of these rare birds, studying their emotional intelligence and social behaviors. Shadow had been released into the wild to see how it would interact with its environment. But the storm that had injured it had thrown the experiment off track. The men were amazed by how Shadow had bonded with Ethan. Normally, these birds were known to be shy and distrustful of humans. But Shadow had formed a deep connection with the boy who had saved its life. The researchers offered to take Shadow back to the sanctuary, where it would receive expert care. But Ethan felt a pang of sadness at the thought of parting with the bird that had become his friend. Seeing Ethan's hesitation, one of the researchers smiled. "You've done something truly remarkable," he said. "If you'd like, we can make an exception. You can keep Shadow here, and we'll visit regularly to make sure everything's all right." Ethan's heart swelled with happiness and pride. He had saved Shadow, and in doing so, had formed a bond that went beyond what anyone could have predicted. What started as an act of kindness had led to an incredible discovery, a once-in-a-lifetime connection with a bird that wasn't just ordinary, but extraordinary. As Shadow perched on Ethan's shoulder, the boy realized that the bird had given him so much more than he had given it. Shadow had taught him about compassion, the value of kindness, and the incredible ways in which the world can surprise you when you least expect it. In the end, Ethan learned that sometimes the smallest actions can lead to the biggest, most unexpected rewards. If you were touched by this story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories like this. Share this video with someone who could use a little inspiration today, because you never know how one small act can change the world around you.